Okay, so I'm a bit nervous right now, so I cannot speak properly, but I'll try my best to explain my point.
No, no, please don't be nervous. Just feel free
Okay,
and be confident,
so a
inshallah.
few days ago, I just got into an argument with a Hindu. So the guy presented an argument on the Twitter. So the guy presented an argument that you guys believe that when nothing existed, not even the universe, human, anything, God existed alone. So there are only two logical possibilities, that either God created us from nothing or he created us from his own essence. So if we go with the second option, the Hindu argument of the sky god, the river god, and the moon god makes sense, because since he created everything with his own essence, then everything can be God. So why? I just don't know how to respond to his
Yeah,
argument.
it's a very good question, sister. Jazakallah for coming on board and giving us the opportunity to answer your question. May Allah bless you and may Allah grant you a transformative Ramadan. Okay, this person is a class A idiot. I don't say that lightly, because he's giving you what you call a false dilemma. He's basically saying God existed. He existed alone in eternity, and then he decided to create things or create the universe. He's saying that there are two options: either he created by nothing, or he created from himself. So it's come from himself. So he's used something from himself to create into the universe. So therefore, God could be other things. Now, the easy way to deal with this, just say to him, it's a false dilemma. Not even if, actually, it's not even a dilemma, because the first option is a practically fine option. Can God create by nothing? Of course. Can he use his irada, his power, and his irada, his will, and his qudra to bring things into existence? There is nothing metaphysically impossible about that. He's assuming that it can't be the case. He's assuming that God can't create by nothing, that he needs some kind of stuff in order for God to create. And he says, since there's nothing apart from himself, then he used himself. This is a ridiculous philosophical argument, because by understanding who the deity is, who Allah is, who God is, God can perfectly create the universe or create anything by nothing, meaning without any prior stuff. He uses his irada and his qudra. Now, it would be a problem if someone said that there was nothing and then something came into existence. Because what they mean by nothing here, even na'udhu billah, even Allah doesn't exist. Of course, if there's non-being, being cannot come from non-being unless there is a prior causal condition. But we know that Allah is the eternal creator, the uncreated creator. He exists, he is a reality. When there's nothing, it means there's nothing at all. So the only way they could try and find some kind of contradiction, if they were to say nothing existed at all, not even Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But if he were to say that, then his question would be about something totally different. Anyway, the point I'm trying to say here is he's giving you a false dilemma. It's not really a dilemma. You just pick the first option. Allah creating by nothing is perfectly in line with logic and any kind of understanding of metaphysics. Allah is the all-powerful being who can create by nothing, meaning he could bring things into existence without any prior stuff before that. He just says be and it is, kun fayakun, and Allah uses his irada and qudra, his will and power, to bring things into existence. So I hope, does that clarify your question?
Yes, it does. I just have another one.
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead.
Okay, so how can we refute their idea of multiple gods? Because we have many Dawa channels that talk about Christianity, atheism, but we do not have any Dawa channel about Hinduism, Buddhism, or Sikh.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's many ways of dealing with this, but it depends what kind of polytheism they adhere to. But let's just stick to a kind of easy understanding of it. Say they say they're all gods, and all of these gods are powerful, all of these gods are unique, all of these gods are wise, all of these gods are eternal, and so on and so forth. The most easiest way of dealing with this is as follows: is basically saying to them, Can there be more than one thing if you cannot differentiate between those things? This is an argument from Al-Ghazali in his Tahafut al-Falasifa. It's quite a brilliant argument. So I want you to imagine 2 bananas on the table. You know you can count 2 bananas. Here's one banana and here's another banana. Why do you know there are 2 bananas? Why do you know? What is it that makes it that you could perceive 2 bananas on the table? Well,
Because they're different.
yes, they're in different locations on the table. There may be a different shade of yellow. There may be a different size. There may be a different position on the table, angle, and so on and so forth. Now, here's another question. If everything was completely the same about those 2 bananas, shape, size, look, color, feel, temperature, weight, density, location, everything, spatial, temporal location, if everything was the same about them, could you say there's 2 bananas?
No.
Thank you. So if they believe that God has to be powerful, unique, transcendent, knowing, and wise, and they say there's all these gods that have exactly the same attributes, then say to them, there is nothing logically in place that allows you to make a distinction between more than one. All you're doing is describing one. It's like a principle. If what's the same of A is the same of B, then A is B. So all you're describing is one thing. So you can just say to them, and if they say to you, oh, but this God is a bit different. Well, he can't be God then, because he has to have something different about him. If there's something different about him, then you've lessened his divinity in some way. You could say, oh, this God is only all powerful and wise, but this God is knowing. Do you see what's happening here, right? That's one easy way of doing it. Another way of doing it is what you study in Aqidah Tahawiyah. In the explanation of Aqidah Tahawiyah is when you talk about wills. It's called the argument of, I think it's called the argument of exclusion. And basically, it's a really powerful argument. So when you conceptualize who God is, he is a divine being with a will. And his will is not restricted, meaning nothing limits God. Nothing outside of God limits his will. Nothing. If you say that, then it's not God anymore. You could go...
He's independent.
He's independent. Nothing external to God limits his will. So the argument of exclusion is as follows. And here's an example. Imagine you have a rock. And say, hypothetically, there were 2 gods. And one God wanted to... And so they wanted to move the rock. There are 3 possible explanations. Number one of them wants to move it to the left. The other one wants to move it to the right. When that happens, then what happens? It doesn't move at all. Or one overpowers the other. So the other option is one overpowers the other. So one actually gets to move it to the right and the other one can't move it to the left. So if one overpowers the other, there's only one will in play because it's the dominant will. The previous example, if they cancel each other out, that's pointless because we know we have the universe in existence. The will has manifested itself. So they can't cancel each other out because we have something in existence, which is the universe. So the first option was they cancel each other out, which is impossible. The second option is one overpowers the other, which again shows that there's only one true will, meaning one God. Or the other option is they always agree to move the rock in the same way all the time. But when that happens, how many wills are there? There's only one will. There's only one will. And since the will has to be independent, then there's only one independent will from that perspective. Therefore, one will, one God, because the will has to be independent. So that's called the argument from exclusion. There's many, many more. But in the book called The Divine Reality, if you go to chapter, I think it's chapter 10. Chapter 10 talks about, it's called Divine Singularity. It goes through various arguments why Allah is one. A powerful argument in that chapter. You could download this from the Sapience Institute
Your
website.
book is not available in Pakistan.
It is.
No,
it is. If you go to
you can download it.
sapienseinstitute.org/books, download it for free, sister.
Oh, all right. I can download. Okay.
So when you down, and plus it's getting translated into Urdu. I had a call with some of the brothers, I think a few days ago. It's coming out in Urdu as well, inshallah.
Yes, it's been
And
done in Urdu.
all thanks to Adnan, by the way. He facilitated that.
No, all thanks to Allah. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
well, thanks to you and all thanks to Allah. That's what I meant. Yeah, good. Jazakallah khair. So I meant to say all credit goes to Adnan.
No, it doesn't. It goes to the brothers who have done it. I haven't done nothing.
Mashallah.
Yeah.
Well, you facilitate. May Allah bless you. But listen, sister. So the other thing is, another powerful argument is called the argument from revelation. The argument from revelation is very simple. You just show to them, Allah says, God says God is one, and God knows himself more than anyone else. And Allah has revealed that in the Quran, and the Quran is true. And if you prove them the Quran to be true, what does Allah say? قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ Allah is the uniquely one. Khalas. That's the easy way of doing it. Another way is referring to the famous ayah in the Quran that if there were more than one deity, the whole kind of cosmos would be in chaos. That's another very powerful argument as well. And there are two primary meanings to that verse. But this is enough for you now. If you go to the chapter, read it, you get all the references and all the conceptualization in there for you to understand. Okay, sister?
Yes, thank
Jazakallah
you
khair.
so much for answering my answer.
Thank
I'll
you
just
so
upload
much.
this clip on my Twitter.
May Allah
Please
bless
do.
you.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much,
Allah
Jazakallah.
bless you. Allah bless you. Thank you so
Assalamu
much.
alaikum.
And before we go to the next question, I want to remind everyone again, don't forget the reason we're here tonight, sapiensinstitute.org/donate live. So let's not stop the donations. Keep them, keep them coming in. Brothers and sisters, those of you still watching, you can see the kind of questions we are receiving, how sophisticated they are, how different they are, how many different angles they're coming from. We need an organization, we need a system to answer these questions. Okay, not every single question can be answered, of course, but we try our best to give the answers we do have, right? So we're trying to create a platform where youngsters can go and get the answers, inshallah ta'ala, in simple terms. And what has Sapiens been doing for the last, let's say, 1 year, 9 months? Let's say Sapiens has been around for 9 months. We have trained and empowered over 6,000 people to defend and share Islam. That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. Okay, that's like 700 people a month. 700 people a month. Okay, developed and delivered over 33 academic webinars, delivered 10 in-depth online courses and seminars, delivered advanced training to Blue Mosque outreach team, which has access to 4 million visitors every year, published 3 books, researched and published 13 essays and articles, launched free online lighthouse mentoring service, which is one-to-one service to people with doubts or who have questions, privately mentored ex-Muslims, du'at, and people with doubts, produced 30 sapient thoughts videos. So even media production is there. So in the last 9 months, this organization has done phenomenal work. You need to support the next year. In the next year, we will continue with this work, inshallah, even more so, with a lot
Inshallah.
more dedication, with a lot more attention, with a lot more power, inshallah. And you can be part of that. And you're potentially saving the imans of hundreds of people, if not thousands. So start making these donations. sapiensinstitute.org/donate live. Don't hesitate. This is one of the best causes you may be donating to, inshallah, this Ramadan. And every single good deed you do in the month of Ramadan will be multiplied 70 times. So, my brothers and sisters, don't belittle, don't take this lightly. It's a huge opportunity to make a difference. There are not many organizations out there doing the kind of work we do at Sapiens. Okay, there are thousands of masajid, there are thousands of dawah organizations, possibly, doing a lot of basic work. Mashallah, may Allah bless them. They're all doing great work. Okay, but this organization, this institute, is doing a very, very specialist uh, thing, and that is to deal with sophisticated attacks against Islam, defending the intellectual boundaries of Islam, and by doing so, protecting the iman of thousands of vulnerable people who come across questions and doubts online. Okay, just like Brother Sabur said earlier, what do you think of a 16 years old or a 15 years old who comes across a question at school or somewhere else, goes online, types the question, and there are 50 websites destroying his iman? Okay, all lying, all misrepresenting Islam, or twisting facts. Okay, how about having a platform where the child can go and get some authentic Islamic responses? Sapiens Institute is doing that by a number of ways: articles, books, webinars, discussions, dialogues, lectures, talks, one to one mentoring sessions, and all of that. Allahu Akbar. So, this is the kind of work you're supporting tonight. Sapiensinstitute.org/donate live is the link. Start copying the link and send it on your WhatsApp groups to your siblings, to your uncles, to your aunties. If you know wealthy people and they want to make donations, send the link to them and leave it to Allah, and Allah will soften their hearts to make donations towards this particular project.